Welcome to Authors Learning Something New. On today's episode, we have Ray Tabler and his book, The Diesel-Powered Starship, and Rick Tabor, your host, author of Children of the Scroll. On today's episode of Authors Learning Something New, we have Ray Tabler, the author of The Diesel-Powered Starship, which I'm very interested to learn more about. And I'm your host, Rick Tabor, author of Children of the Scroll. So, Ray, thank you for being on the podcast today. I really appreciate that. Can you
Thank you
tell
for,
us? Go ahead.
yeah. Oh, thank you for inviting me on. And okay, my book or my fourth
Can
book.
you tell us a little bit about your background first? Let's
Oh,
hear
my
about
background,
you.
sure. I'm a retired chemical engineer who started writing when I was about 40 and sold about a dozen short stories between the year 2000 and 2019 when I retired.
Like
And
to
I said, well,
magazines and such?
to online magazines and some print magazines, some
Wow.
anthologies, that type of thing. And it was just a hobby. I got started in that because when I was 40 in 2000, I got cancer. So
Oh,
I'm fine now.
good.
But, yes, it is,
Uh,
writing is something I'd wanted to do for a long time. And that scared me. And I said, well, if I'm going to do it, I better start because who knows when this might come back.
right.
So I started writing, sold my first short story in 2006 to Bane's Universe. And then, like I said, sold about a dozen short stories between then and 2012, at which point I got laid off from my job. And
Bummer.
I said, okay, well, let's concentrate on finding a new job and keeping it.
Yeah.
And I didn't write a thing until I retired from that second job in 2019. At which point I said, well, I've got all of this time. I can just go down to the McDonald's every morning with the other old dudes and sit there with a bottomless coffee cup, or let's start writing books. So I did. And like I said, the Diesel-Powered Starship is my fourth published novel.
Congrats.
And
That's fantastic.
thank you. And I've got, surprisingly enough, I think many more books in me.
I bet you do. You
Thank
seem
you.
like the light has not gone out of your eyes. That's for sure.
No, this is such a fun hobby. Although I want to try to make it more. Okay.
So Ray, tell me, diesel powered Starship. Those two don't
Uh,
usually go together very well. So
I
help me with
I
that.
a lot of my writing is putting strange things together. And this was
Gotcha.
inspired late one night when I couldn't sleep, and I got up and went downstairs, turned the TV on, and there was a really bad science fiction movie on called Space Truckers, which which
Inspiration.
and the spaceships in this movie actually look like 18 wheelers. And I said, "Oh my God,
I've
I
got to
can."
see this movie now.
Oh, well, there was a remake, and there was actually a TV show. I was surprised to learn.
Oh,
So
wow.
okay. But anyway, I said, I think I can do that concept better. And I said, why would you need a diesel powered spaceship? And it took me a little while, and I figured, oh, if you can't use electricity, because diesel engines don't use spark plugs, they rely on the heat of compression to drive the internal combustion. And I said, okay, I'm going to write a story about a faster than light star drive that won't tolerate an electrical circuit. And so in the story, a Mexican physicist invents a faster than light star drive that won't tolerate an electrical circuit. So people can travel to other star systems, but they have to start over on every new planet with pre electrical technology. So that's the setup. And then the story um, came to me as that there, people were expanding through the galaxy, uh, but the central government on Earth still wants to control everything, and that precipitates a rebellion, and that's the story.
Conflict. Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. That's
okay,
fantastic.
right,
That's a great plot.
right. So I mean, in structure, I say that this book resembles uh, how a sci-fi version of How the West Was Won. It's an epic story with a large cast of characters, and it spans about a century of time from beginning to end.
Wow. So here's your special question. It's time for that.
Ah, mhm,
So you taught me about substacks, and
mhm.
I want you to teach our audience about substacks because as a debut author, I didn't know about substacks. And so I was really interested, and I still am, about what that's all about.
Okay, well, Substack.com, it's a platform where authors can go and post their work in the form of a newsletter, and Substack delivers that to subscribers, to your subscribers, directly to your subscribers' email inbox. And you can post as long and or as short and as often as you want. Um, and I just thought this was a great way to build readership. Now there are similar platforms. There's one called Medium and another called Royal Road.
Yeah.
Um, I I don't know, but I think both of those charge, put the posts behind a paywall. Whereas Substack, you have that option where you can make money off the post, or you can just do it for free.
Okay.
And my Substack is free because I want to use it to build readership, and I think that's um, I think I've done that. I mean, I've got
That's
over 200 subscribers, which are
wow. Good for
people that,
you.
thank you, that get an email with my post every time I post, um, and like 650 followers, and they don't get an email, but they're notified when I do post. And I
Okay.
try to post twice a week, fiction on Tuesdays and essays on Thursdays. And so far, I mean, I've posted short stories for my fiction, but so far I have serialized two full novels on Substack, and I'm halfway through a third. And I get probably about 100 people reading each chapter as I post it.
Wow.
So I think it's a pretty good, and the author retains all rights to what's posted.
Yeah. Well,
Substack says
that's
that
very
right up front.
important, obviously.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so I think it's an excellent resource to get your stuff out there and get people
I'm gonna check
interested in
this
what you
out.
write.
I gotta check it
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
So Ray, I got I got all kind of questions, but I'm
Sure,
gonna try to boil it down to a couple just because of our time. The
sure,
first
sure.
question I have, I love well, so as I write,
Hmm.
you know, let's say a chapter gets revised
Hmm.
after the fact. Do you repost that chapter then, or how does that work?
Well, that's completely up to you. Um, I've seen people do that.
Yeah,
They'll go back and revise and send it out as an edited chapter.
yeah.
Um, I I typically don't. I'm a pantser, a discovery writer. So okay, and
A
it's a bit of high
discovery
wire act.
writer.
Yes,
Yeah, that's so much better than a pantser. Yeah.
that's what Stephen King calls it because he is a discovery writer. He
All
he
right.
says in his
I think
book
I've
on
heard
writing.
that from his
Yeah,
revised version of On Writing. I read his
yeah,
first version. Yeah.
okay, and you're basically the author is uncovering the story as he goes, as an archaeologist is uncovering a fossil.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, So, I mean, it's up to you if you want to revise it or you just want to leave it as it is. But I mean, Substack, serializing novels online is a bit of a high wire act for a discovery writer because you don't really know where it's going.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
the the reader has to trust that you're going to find the story sooner or later.
All right. So here's another scenario I want to throw at you.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
value feedback like crazy. I love getting both. I'm not as interested in the positive feedback. I get, honestly, too much positive feedback because
Hmm.
I, I don't want to go there. People are nice. Let's put it that way. People are
Yes.
just really nice and they want to give you positive feedback all the time. What
Hmm.
I'm looking for is that baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire and somebody finds a sentence in there, man, this could be better, or I don't believe that so and so is in love with so and so, or I don't believe, you got to make me believe, that kind of feedback is what I dearly treasure as gold nuggets. Can you
Okay.
get that on that Substack?
I imagine you can. I typically don't because I don't ask. I think because I don't ask for it. But if you,
Yeah.
I imagine that if you ask for uh, constructive criticism
Yeah.
on Substack, you'll probably get it because there are a lot of people on there reading.
200. Yeah. If you got 200
Yeah.
people reading, and they're
Yep.
probably going to give you some feedback if you let them, all right? I guess.
Yes. Yes.
Might be a little overwhelming at some point. 200 probably would be overwhelming.
Rick, I hear that you have a few patents. What's the most unusual patent or most unusual invention that you're on?
So my most unusual is the one that I'm probably the most proud of because I I invented this little device. It's very simple. So I've got the prototype of the invention, which I had 3D printed. This is the prototype. It's a pill swallowing device, and you fill this chamber from the one end with uh, a swallowing lubricant, which exists. You plug up the end, and then you put the pill in this side, and you use this little pen device to push it in, and now it gets lubricated. You take that out, and you go squeeze the bulb. It goes into your mouth. You swallow the lubricant pill combination, maybe with a little water chaser, and you swallow your pill more easily. There's about 40% of people who have issues swallowing pills, and it can lead to lack of conformance and such like that with medications and whatnot.
Well, I think I could probably use that device because one of my blood pressure medications depletes my body of potassium. So I have to take a potassium chloride pill supplement, and it's an enormous pill,
Uh,
and it tastes horrible. And I have a lot of trouble getting that down without tasting it. It's kind of like some gymnastics every morning, just getting that thing in my throat.
wow. So it's time for us to share something that will help other authors be successful in their writing journey. You've already shared the Substack uh, description for us all. Is there anything else you can share for us, as an experienced author like yourself?
I think the the most important thing is don't be afraid. Just finish your book. I mean, 85% of people think they have a book in them. Only 5% ever start, and less than 1% ever finish. So don't be afraid to just put it down, get it down on paper, and then once you do, uh, go online. I mean, I started with LinkedIn. That was my entire social media
Oh, wow.
presence.
You
I
started publishing on LinkedIn?
yes, I did.
Wow.
Because I was trying to find a job, and my editor said, "Ray, you got to get a website. You got to get on X, and you got to get on Instagram." So I
Yeah.
did that, and then I found Substack, uh, and just get out there. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there and talk, and and network. Another great thing you can do is go to local or not so local conventions. I usually go to science fiction conventions,
Yeah.
and conventions of other genres and apply to be a panelist. Don't be afraid to do that because they're usually hungry for people to fill up those panels.
Nice.
And that you can do what you can do is network, and it's usually an open and welcoming community, and that lets you talk to readers and other authors and learn the tricks of the trade, um, and do book signings. And a lot of people get imposter syndrome because they think, well, what do I know? Imposter syndrome is the only disease I know of that you can cure by ignoring it. Because
Very good. Very good.
what, what
That's great advice, Ray. I really
hmm,
appreciate that.
yeah,
This is really truly gold that you've put forth for us today, and I'm very grateful for having you on the show. Um, do
thank you for
you
inviting
have
me.
a website where you are? I see it up here on your screen.
Yes,
It's
Ray Tabler.
www.raytabler.com.
Yes, and if you go there, you'll find links to my other to where you can buy my books, and so which are available both in paperback and ebook version. Um, you can find links to my LinkedIn, Facebook, um, X, and Instagram, and my Substack.
Wow, you're very well. You have a big social presence. Good job. Hey, there you go, fellow authors and fellow readers. Here are the next two books that you need to read right here, especially The Diesel-Powered Starship by Ray Tabler.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. And if you're watching this on YouTube, my YouTube channel, don't forget to push the subscribe button. And thanks for coming, Ray. Thanks for coming, audience.
Thank you.
Bye for now.